I'm a senior demo engineer and I work closely with solution engineers to create meaningful demos and presentations to our customers, bringing the full power of Salesforce products and innovations.
Hello, my name is Paul Roth. I'm a director within customer success and a senior technical architect. Well, that's to say that I help business people make technical decisions and help them to understand their options and to think about things in new ways.
CMS, Salesforce's content management system, allows you to deliver content across every digital experience. It's possible to customize the content's shape or metadata using content types. And currently, the only way to do that, to create and manage custom content types, is through the API programmatically, which can be quite challenging to grasp and has a steep learning curve. That's where this solution comes in. CMS Content Type Creator allows low-code and no-code admins to quickly create, delete, and clone CMS content types right inside Lightning Experience.
The Mockup component suite is able to help you brainstorm, iterate on layouts, and even iterate on a specific component without ever leaving the Salesforce environment. This gets your ideas into the org right next to existing and standard functionality, meaning that you can get your feedback and even do testing directly within your org.
It started as an internal asset to make life easier for solution engineers to demo CMS, which is the content management system from Salesforce. And it quickly caught the attention of more people, one of them being Joe Morse, one of our CMS specialists, who also involved the product team. And together we managed to round up the edges and publish it on AppExchange to make it available for all of our partners and customers to leverage it as well.
This was originally created to help customers that were on Classic and to help them to see the power that they now have access to within Lightning Experience. There was such great usage and feedback that we got from it that we were able to keep it going even after the transition. Have you heard of anyone using it in the real world? What's their use case? There have been a couple customers that have been using it, around 20 or so far. They've been able to use it once and then keep the conversation going. The best way that I've seen this work is to have brainstorming sessions become working brainstorming sessions. I want to see a grid here. I want to see a chart here. I want this to have the details. I want to have these tabs and so on and have those things break apart. Where I've seen it work the best is where we actually had a designer and a developer argue during the call. The designer said, well, I want to have it look like this. And the developer says, well, that's not feasible. What about this instead? And they both kept uploading images. So one was saying one when the other one was saying the other one. And slowly, you were able to see those two converge. It was such an amazing discussion. I just loved it.
Our main challenge from the get-go was how to make the solution available to end users with the least amount of setup as possible. After a lot of experiments with different approaches, I ended up choosing Lightning Web Components embedded in the Visualforce page, which to this day, it surprises me it works. But I wouldn't recommend going to this approach nowadays because there's a new feature called Lightning Message Service, which is a way better approach to communicate between different UI elements on a page. And it's something that I will use to eventually upgrade my solution with.
The biggest challenge that we had was where to have it as the source of truth for mockup components. Originally, there was a request, could we be able to simply just not use the app builder? We just double click on it, use custom objects, and just store it somewhere else. This ultimately became more of a transition kind of nightmare, where when I was cloning a layout, I would ultimately be changing it in two places, and that's not something that we would really want to do. Because we're able to leverage the app builder as really the source of truth, that meant that the components were editable, and we were able to make it copied, and each one was able to be unique. That meant that we were also able to transition them from one place to the next one, and we were always able to have them work exactly the way that we were expecting. And because we were using the app builder as the source of truth underneath the sheets, that's really what we wanted to have people really understand the power of to begin with. So they were able to see what was real as opposed to what it is that they wanted to now have. So you could be able to see those things right next to one another. The simplest tip I would give is that to crop the images before uploading. That makes it so that it becomes the most efficient way. You can also be able to set background transparencies, and it looks just beautiful inside of the org. You can barely be able to tell the difference. But I absolutely love when you're able to use the Lightning Design System blueprints and then the Lightning Playground, which is now web components.dev, to create designs that quickly follow the Salesforce designs. You know that it works, you know that it's the way that things are supposed to look, and it ends up making things just so much easier. You can always be able to use Figure or Sketch or something like that to make things look pretty simple, but it's a great way to be able to collaborate on something.
There's one thing I'd like to share, which is something that I learned from one of those user reviews on the AppExchange, which is you don't need to actually install this solution on your production org. You just need to install it into a sandbox. And there you can create and test content types as much as you want. And when you're happy with it, you can promote the changes to your production org using change sets. This is a great example of the best tip I can give, which is leverage the Trailblazer community as much as you can. My favorite character would be Hootie McAllface, because he represents learning and trust, and also he's the only plushie that I got, and I got him on my first Trailhead DX, which was quite a memorable event for me.
Meta the Moose. It turns out that it's a trusted architect and represents engineering and architecture, but apparently if you take the Salesforce character quiz, it has me as Cody apparently. There is something that's called React Storybooks. This is where unit tests are for logic, that storybooks are for visuals. We actually use them in making all of the mockup components. You can actually see them inside of the mockup components repository. I have loved this, and I've been using it on every single one of my Lightning components. I would love to see more use out of them.
Me and a couple of other employees are working on a check-in solution which will capture geolocation and check-in information from sales reps. This is something that we're hoping to publish it by mid next year.